We actually just have one more performance tonight. And before I give my little monologue, I guess, I first want to say thank you again. Because, first of all, to our performers, because this night doesn't happen without you. And it is hard to come up on this stage, no matter how big or small, and allow yourself to be vulnerable. And so I want to thank you for letting us be vulnerable with you. And I also want to thank all of you for being here tonight. For whatever reason you are here, it means a lot to us. I actually want to share with you then the reason I'm here. As I said before, I am co-executive of this club. It means a lot to me. But I'm going to tell you all a little secret. I have never, as far as I know, been diagnosed with mental illness. I've never struggled with it, thankfully. Personally, I've never had to seek help, and I'm grateful. And I'm going to tell you another secret. If you'd asked me just a few years ago in high school what my opinion was of mental health, I probably wouldn't have any. I would just not have one. I would just say, well, I don't think about it. I don't know. It's not the thing that is relevant in my life. So that's a big change. How do you go from not being aware to being on the stage, to being co-executive of this? That's a big change. So I want to share the reason why I'm here and why this matters so much to me. And for me, this actually goes back to high school. It actually starts back in sophomore year of high school. In my sophomore year of high school, I met this guy named Brandon. And he was one of those friends, you know for so long, they're just in your life for so long that you forget how you met them. You don't really remember. If you were to ask, how did you meet? You'd kind of stumble. You'd be like, well, we just, knew each other, friends of friends. He's just always been there, And I felt like I'd known him for so long that I couldn't even imagine a time I didn't know him. I was like, yeah, of course, I've always known Brandon. He's just been there. But if I had to pinpoint the moment that I met him, I will tell you this. The very first conversation I remember having with him was about bananas and nuts. And I kid you not, this is a true story. He came up to my friend group during lunch, because he was friends of my friends, like I said. He came up to us at lunch, and he spent the entire break trying to convince me and my friend that bananas were nuts. And that boy was ready. He was ready for this. He had this article printed, and it had all food categories and everything. And I had never had a conversation with this guy, ever. And then the first thing he says to me is, I think bananas are definitely nuts, according to this blah, blah, blah. And I was like, who are you? I literally had no idea who he was. I was like, who are you with your nuts and your bananas? I don't know what to think of you. But that was the first conversation I had with him. And then the very next day, I go to my chemistry class. I look behind me, and I'm like, it's you, banana guy, you're in my class, what the heck? He was right behind me this whole time, and I never noticed. And that's a very odd way to start a friendship, I suppose, over bananas. But it happened, because after that, I saw him every day, and we talked about everything, about anything. We talked about movies, about proper way to watch movies, about questions of life and morality. It could range from anything. And sometimes I would struggle to even keep up with conversations with him. But over 3 years of high school, he became my close friend. Like, I saw him every day, and we talked about all those things and more. And talking with him was an amazing experience. Like, he just really made you feel good. You know, he was great at listening. He was amazing at it. Like, you know, he would remember every conversation that you've ever had. And I could, like, this is also a true story. I remember one time in junior year of high school, we talked about Frankenstein because we took a class where we read that book. A year later, senior year, he comes up to me and he's like, so about Frankenstein we were talking about. And I was like, wait. When were we talking about, like, slow down, what are you talking about? He was like, yeah, last year, remember we were talking about that? And I was like, you can't just, like, bring up a conversation from a year ago and expect me to just remember it, like, exactly. But he did, and he did exactly, so I guess I should remember that exact conversation about Frankenstein. And he had a gift for that. He had a gift for knowing and learning. He wanted to know everything he could about you. He was like a sponge. He just absorbed everything that he could ever know about you. And that made being around him so special. And I mean, he was just a gentleman. I don't know what else to say. Like, he waited for me every single day after school. Even though he biked home, I got picked up. There was no gain, no benefit of him waiting an hour or two while we talked. Like, he could have gone home, but he stayed. He stayed, and he was there for me. And we talked every day. And that's why it was really hard to accept it when he just wasn't there anymore. And that's why it was so strange to find out that he just left. He had just disappeared, because despite seeing him every day and despite talking about all these things together, he never once told me that he was struggling, or that he was in pain, or that he was depressed, or that he didn't want to live anymore. He never once said it. Which is why I couldn't believe the day that he just disappeared. It didn't feel real. It felt like a bad dream, like a nightmare. But I remember it very well. I remember I went into my stats class, and there was this office attendant. He gave the teacher a slip. And it was for me and two other of my friends, and it says, come down to the office immediately. Now, there's two options on those slips. One of them says come when convenient, the other one says come immediately. Now, you know it's bad when it says come immediately. You either screwed up bad, or they've got some bad news for you. And when I saw the check immediately box, I was like, oh, they're on to me now. Oh God, they've got me now. Senior year and it's over. Just kidding. But I was like, well, you know, it can't be that bad. I look over to my friend and they have the same slip. And I was like, well, that's weird. Did we all just screw up somehow, like on the same exact day? So I walk out of the hall with them, and then I see my fourth friend running down the hall, and she's like, wait, you guys got a slip too? And I was like, no, wait a minute, this is weird. There's, like, all of us are here, we all have the same slip, like, I don't understand what's happening. And my other friend looks at me, and she says, oh my God, I think I know what this is. And I was like, okay, well then tell me. And she says, well, are you sure, like, you want me to? And I was like, okay, something's wrong. I want to know, like, tell me right now. Don't beat around the bush. And my friend is a very blunt person. She says it like it is. And so she did. She looked at me and she said, okay, last night, Brandon died. And I looked at her and I said, well, what the hell does that mean? He died, like my Brandon, he died, like, I thought she was playing some sick joke on me. I was hoping she was playing a joke on me. Not because I thought, like, you know, she was, you know, mean or wanted to be mean, but I just, like, I hoped this was just not the case. And I was like, you can't be for real. And she said, I am. I'm serious. And I went down to that office with them, and there was that group. It was like out of a bad movie or something, like the group of counselors, and everyone was there, and then they all just one by one repeated the same annoying phrase. Your friend had an accident. And I said, what does that mean? Your friend had an accident. Well, like, what happened? He had an accident. Like, what is that? And I was like, can you stop saying that? Like, I want to know. Like, you know, people don't just disappear. Like, what? He had an accident. And I tell you, a month passed, and I did not know. They just kept saying the same words. He had an accident. He had an accident. I was like, what? And a month later, at his funeral, his sister pulls me and some other people aside and says, look, you have a right to know about this. You're his friend, you have a right to know. And 17-year-old boys will just disappear overnight. And she told me, she said that Brandon committed suicide. And even though I thought about it and I wondered if it was true, just hearing it felt so much different. It felt so much worse. And I couldn't believe it. I said, how could it be that I see someone every day and I don't notice? Or he never tells me. I just couldn't fathom it. And for over a year and a half, it's been almost 2 years now. And to this day, I still blame myself because I stood next to him, right next to him, as close as I am to you at the edge of the stage. I stood next to him and I couldn't do anything. I didn't save him. I didn't reach out. I didn't say, hey, do you know how much I would miss you if you weren't here? I didn't say a word. And because of that, he thought he could never say anything to me. So I'm going to be honest, I'm here because I feel guilty. I'm here because I've blamed myself for a very long time because I felt that I failed my friend. I didn't do anything when I should have. And that apparently pushed me hard enough to do better. Because I said, I never again am going to make the same mistake of not doing enough. And whether or not it's right or wrong to blame myself for what happened, because a lot of people say that I shouldn't, and I know I shouldn't. But I don't know how else to feel sometimes. And when I do, I want to know that I'm doing something right instead of wrong. So I'm here because I want to do everything that I failed to do with Brandon. I'm here because I want to make sure that I said everything I could say and that people know that it's okay to be not okay. It's okay to feel crap. It's fine. It's okay to say it. No one's gonna love you less. No one's gonna hate you more. I'm here because I want someone, even if I've never met you, I want you to know that the world would miss you terribly if you weren't in it. And I still think that I messed up in high school, but I hope that maybe I'm doing a little better now. So the reason I'm here, the reason that we put this event is because I hope it inspires you all to know that if you're not feeling okay, you can say it loud and proud, and you can do what you need to do. I'm here because I want to inspire you to take care of yourself and others and love the people around you. I hope that I inspire you to just look at someone, your friend or your family, maybe a total stranger, and just say, you're a wonderful human being and you are loved. And so I want to thank all of you for being here and helping me do that, because I never thought I would be on the stage. So before we go, I just want to say thank you. And lastly, I want to say that all this, for me, this is for Brandon, and I hope he's smiling right now. Thank you.